Today I want to talk about cases with children. Interesting things I found that a lot of the children's hospital, up to 50% of cases, I was told that they have no physical idea why the child and what's happening with the child. So I want to go into some of the variables of the incidents that we're dealing with children and the areas we're getting to with children, which is going to broaden your horizon a lot more. I've heard cases where they've been giving 4-year-old children electric shock treatment for remembering things they claim don't exist. Well, here's a case with a 4-year-old boy. He wakes up screaming at night. He's in a cold sweat. Sometimes his body's bouncing in the bed. Parents sleep with him to try and keep him pacified at night. They go to Melbourne and they ask, can you help my son? My comment is, I never know what's going to take place with any case. But nothing ventured, nothing gained. So let's find out what we're dealing with. I surrogate the 4-year-old into the mother. In other words, I just surrogate the little spirit of the child into the mother's body. The little spirit of the child's now talking out of the mother's body. You're back there now, what's happening? Back in a past life, thank you, what's happening? I'm driving a train, thank you, what's happening? It's a one-way track, thank you, what's happening? Another train coming the other way, thank you, what's happening? All of a sudden he's panicking in the body and trying to stop the train. There's a head-on collision, he's killed. His 4-year-old son was killed on the train, a pile of other little kids on the train were killed. The moment in this lifetime he reached 4 years old, that was the trigger for the sleeper. That now activated the sleeper. Now he is trying to stop the train in his sleep, panicking every night. The moment we unfolded time and space and dealt with the issue that had never been dealt with in the past, looped time upon the dimension, finished it so it was complete, he's now sleeping peaceful at night. I've got a little boy, gets up every day in the morning really early and touches certain rocks and certain plants on the property. Now he's doing it every afternoon. When he's in the car he's sniffing the air. The parents think there's something wrong here and they take him to the doctor, and the doctor says there's something wrong here, he needs to see a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist says there's something wrong here, we need to lock him up and medicate him so we can see what's going on. The parents said no way. We take him up to see this other guy first, and they brought him up to see me. I put him on the table, the spirit little boy said cause and effect was 8 years old, thank you, and what's happening? I'm on the mountaintop with my dad, and what's happening? I'm doing a ritual, thank you. And what sort of ritual are you doing? I'm calling in my spirit totem, thank you. And what's your spirit totem? Spirit of kangaroo, thank you. When's the kangaroo come out? He comes out morning and evenings. So what have I got? I then asked his spirit, I have a spirit of a kangaroo in the body, said yes, thank you. I then asked it to step aside. And I command the spirit of kangaroo to surface now. And I asked, why did you invade the body? And the first thing he said out of the boy's body was, he called me in. Thank you. I then folded time and space to where he called him in, loop time, released the spirit of the kangaroo. Instantly, the compulsive disorder stopped. He called in the kangaroo, valid agreement. The kangaroo now checks out his territory, morning and evenings. I got a little girl in New Zealand. I went to New Zealand, mother brings her to me. She's never spoken, she's never eaten. She's got tubes sticking out of her stomach and they feed her through tubes. Ma asks if I can help, I have no idea what's going to happen. So I surrogate the little girl into the mother. When I finished doing some work with the little girl, I surrogated her spirit back into herself. 2 days later the mother rang me and said, look, special schools noticed changes, I've noticed changes, osteopath noticed changes. Can I get another session before you leave New Zealand? So I said, bring in the father. So when the father came in, the first thing I wanted to know was, why did the soul of the vehicle down through time have the chest throat issues? It went back to the great-great-grandfather of tuberculosis. So I looped time in the dimension, changed the dimension to occur in the future cycle. Now spirit, why did you have to come into a vehicle that couldn't communicate? 20-year-old, female, thank you. This is talking out of the grandfather. Sorry, this is talking out of the father, and it's saying, 20-year-old female, I've just stabbed my grandfather in the throat. Thank you. What for? Because he raped me and was sexually abusing me, and that was the only way I could stop it. Thank you. That now tells me I have a reciprocal exchange of energy. That tells me I have the spirit of the grandfather stabbed in the throat in the body. I had to bring him up and fold time and space, send him back in time, change the past and present from occur in the future, send her back and change what she did in the past and the present for her future. Then once it was changed on both behalves, I had to release the spirit of the grandfather, then put the spirit of herself back into her body. 2 days later, she's eating and speaking for the first time. These are some of the cases we're getting with children. You know, I've had children fly up interstate, violence because of bullying at school. That trauma, that thought form, locked in the thought form, became a life form, evolved from the life form into an entity status, and it's now manipulating the child. All it knew was the violence and the bullying. It's now activating violence and bullying until we unfold time and space and took it out. Once we did that, I had 2 teachers fly up for sessions after seeing the changes in their pupils. We have many issues out there with young children. Children come through from the past with trauma, and they can set that trauma up. We have to be looking at these areas that are not being looked at to understand. Why do we listen to systems? Why do governments listen to organisations that are not getting results? We have to start to listen to organisations that are getting results. We have to broaden our horizon. Here we are, 2013. 2013, we're still in the dark ages when it comes to mental health. This is ludicrous. We need to start to broaden our horizons and look at these areas. You know, millions and millions of dollars have been given to universities for research, and yet they haven't come up with these answers. You've really got to ask yourself, do they really want to make changes? And again, I go beyond that and say, well, who's running the scenario at the very top area that doesn't want to make change, and why? You see, if governments really want to make changes, then they'd be looking at every area to make changing, to assist the people that are suffering. And yet, as you look out there today, systems are set up not to assist the people that are suffering, but to create more suffering. It's like a turnover. If you can keep the people sick, you keep them turning over, you keep businesses flowing. I tell you now, the people that are responsible for the positions of power and others suffer by their actions and inactions violate law. And to violate law, all I can say is, I'd hate to be in your shoes, because I know what you're setting yourself up for the future cycles of time. Each and every one of you took a position, were put there, and it was a position of responsibility. If people suffer because of your cause of your actions or inactions, I will tell you now, you will suffer. If not now, then in the future. So I'm telling your spirit, let it be known. Because from today on, if you continue, know where you're going. Know what's going to take place. Because your spirit is aware already. And the activation laws I'm telling you right now is change what you're doing and start to make changes. Or else you will start the suffering within yourself in a very short period of time. Let's continue with the children. Let's continue and have a look at some of the animal spirits that can move into children. You know, I got a little girl, sorry, I shouldn't say little girl. I got a woman who has a little girl who's standing under the tree. And the little 6-year-old boy down the road comes down and baby bird fell out of the tree and stomps on the bird. So I'm looking at how the little spirit of the child felt. I felt really sorry for the bird, thank you. And how else did it make you feel? And next minute, out of her body, they broke my wing, they broke my wing, was the spirit of the bird. The spirit of the bird's been in her since she was 3 years old. And you could actually see the features of the bird in the woman as it had morphed into her over that period of time. You know, we have so many animal spirits we've taken out of people over the years. Sometimes they felt sorry for an animal. That was the invitation. Sometimes they were responsible for the death of the animal. That was the invitation. You know, it's not about feeling sorry for something. It's not about calling something in. It's about understanding that whatever takes place, as long as it's not your reality, somebody else has chose that reality, but not to react to that reality. So the moment you react to that reality, you can actually take on those spirits. Whether it be animal, whether it be human. You know, a little boy, and this is where we get things at the houses at times. And the little boy, he wakes up from the time he's 7, the time he's 11. Daddy, Daddy, there's something in the room. His father comes in. Don't be stupid, these things don't exist. One night his son wakes up screaming, Daddy, Daddy, there's something in the room. So his father hops into bed, keep him pacified, and he felt something touch him on the shoulder. He then came to me, so I feel this thing around the room all the time now, I want to get rid of it. And I said, well, get on the table. Well, if I use your body to call it through, you know. So he said, okay, I know what I'm doing. So I use his body, I call through. First I ask his spirit, is it linked to the man? No. Is it linked to the boy? No. Is it linked to the house? No. Is it linked to the area? Yes. Thank you. I hear my command the spirit, link the area, come forward now. And the next minute this poor spirit comes through, sobbing his heart out. It took him 15 minutes to try and say, I'm sorry, it's my fault. I said, what took place? 150 years ago, he wasn't careful with the lantern. And the house burnt down, his 2 children burnt to death. He's stuck in the trauma of those children being burnt to death. He's stuck in the trauma of watching over the area, watching over the children in the area to make sure there's no more fires. Till he unfolded time and space on the dimension. And we release the spirit for the future cycles of time so he can relive that cycle in the future with his children and the house won't burn down. You see, if in the present you change the past, time will loop itself and it will change your future. We have the ability to change the future and create better futures. Remember, every cell in you is but a fractal of a hologram. But you yourself are only a fractal of another hologram, which is a fractal of another hologram. We have the ability to change one fractal of the hologram, which will change all the holograms. It just takes us to another level of understanding. I had a young lad arguing with his girlfriend. She go out of the car, slam the door, put a foot down, straight on a brick wall in front of him. So we're working with the young lad, we're clearing the trauma. I had 3 items in the room turn themselves on at the same time. When I asked, has the spirit of the girl moved on, is she in the body? The moment I said in the body, 3 different electrical items in the house turned themselves on. Okay, I'll get the hint, thank you. So I had to bring her up and fold time and space change, which she did, and release the spirit from the boyfriend. I have a doctor. He's been drained of energy for over 8 years. We go to look at it. It goes back 26. He's a fire rescue officer. Thank you. And what took place? I'm at a rescue scene. Thank you. What's taking place? I'm dragging the body of the 17-year-old boy out of the car. Thank you. What's taking place? It reminds me of my young brother who's about the same age. Thank you. And how to make you feel. I felt really sad for the young bloke. Thank you. And how else does that make you feel? Next minute, screaming out of his body is, no, I'm only 18, I'm too young to die. Was the spirit of a young 18-year-old boy. Because he felt sorry for him, he moved into the body. But he ever since drained his energy. The question a lot of the time we have to look at with children is, who does it belong to? Is it really their stuff? Is it something else in the body we're dealing with? Are we dealing with something from the past? Are we dealing with something from another dimension? You see, children are so vulnerable to other dimensions. You go in a hospital for anaesthetic. The moment you go into anaesthetic, you know what takes place? The moment your defences are down, you go into anaesthetic, your spirit can step out of the body. And the moment your spirit can step out of the body, you have a vacant possession. And other beings can step in. We've taken so many people back through time to find out where did these things come from. 7-year-old having your appendix out, thank you. 8 years old, thank you, getting tonsils done, thank you. These opportunists need a body. The moment you go into anaesthetic, you have the ability now to step out of body and therefore you become vacant possession. I work with people that have been drowned and resuscitated. Nearly every single person that I've found has been drowned and resuscitated had walk-ins. Because when they drown, they step out, vacant possession. Other beings jump straight in as opportunists. When they come back, we had change of personality because of the other beings that were in there. Till we brought up the others, took them out and gave the spirit back control of this vehicle again. There is so much going on in our world that we're not looking at. We have to broaden our horizons. We have to start to understand other dimensions. You know, this can take us so much further in the future. This can take us into space travel. Look, let's take space travel. I don't care if you're a million miles away. It makes no difference. Your spirit is linked to internal hyperspace. It is omnipotent, omnipresent, present and omniscient. What's it mean? It means it's there everywhere at exactly the same time. In other words, you could be a million miles away in space and I could call your spirit through on the table, work with it if there's an issue, rectify it and send your spirit back into the body, no matter where it is in time and space. As a lot of you people in America and England and other parts of the world are at present, we're surrogating people in and working on them here in Australia from overseas. And we're getting fabulous results with this.